Hey guys, thanks for stopping by our channel. My name is Krista. If you're new here, I've got a wonderful husband and 2 kids under 2. If you like family life content, cleaning, household stuff, feel free to subscribe to the channel.
Today I have a cook and clean with me, and we have just general cleaning to do, cleaning the whole house. I would like to, if I can, mop the kitchen and the bathroom, as well as cleaning the bathroom, of course. And then just general pickup. I'll show you the house is quite a state. The last couple days have been really busy, and so I knew I was going to be doing cleaning today, so I did not put too much effort into clean stuff up during the last couple days because I was like, I'll do it Friday. I know I'm going to have time, so that's the goal for today. Then we also I've got some stuff in the kitchen to make. We're going to be seeing some friends this weekend, so I've made hamburger buns. I'm going to do slider sandwiches. I think that's what they're called. And then we have a caramel apple dip or something like that, or a dip for apples. It's all THM or keto style, so that's going to be fun. And then I also have a hot popper dip. I'll share that with you guys as well. Is your hat all crooked? And then the little darling. I think it's time for her to go down for a little nap. Yeah. Anyways, we're getting over colds. It's that time of year, I guess, hey? Or maybe we've just been doing too much, wearing ourselves too thin. But anyways, time for some cleaning, huh? Oh, and laundry. So anyways, I'll show you guys what we got going. And no judgment when you see the state of the house. I'm pretty sure my house is not the only one like this. So, let's get going. Are you ready to get going, precious? Oh, yes. I think she's looking at herself.
Just to give you a sense of what things look like, yes, my little boy, he gets the majority of the blame for the stuff laying around. He's awesome at relocating things. There's some things I honestly have lost. I haven't found him because he moves stuff all over the place. Case in point, that milkshake jar. Anyways, though to be fair, a lot of the stuff was things that we hadn't gotten to yet. I had done some baking previously before this, and this is just from general living, you know? Oh, there you can see my sourdough dishes. Yeah, I had things I needed to put away, things I needed to tidy up, and today was the perfect day for it. This day was the perfect day for that. This day was the perfect day for that. You can see groceries we got stuff like that. I've got yogurt hanging that needs to get processed. Groceries need to get put away. The bed needs to get made. Like usual, there's the things of life, you know, that as you do different things, your place gets dirty. Everybody, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to show you the befores, so when I show you the afters, it'll be amazing. I'm just kidding. Any of you guys get to talk to your spouses while they're at work? I definitely feel very blessed that I'm able to talk to my husband at pretty much any point during the day. That's what I was doing there while I was remaking our bed. I was talking to him on the phone. There's always stuff to tell him. It's kind of fun when you're married to your best friend because, whenever you have news, guess who you want to call and just stuff like that. Anyways, today was a laundry day, so I figured it was the perfect day to swap out the bedding and get that refreshed. I also noticed while I was gathering laundry that Dirk somehow had spilled milkshake on this chair, so it's one of those things you want to get it cleaned up right away, especially with the berries. Didn't want it to leave a stain. Anyways, yeah, went around and just picked up all of the dirty laundry, the blankets and things. Not much to see there. Anyways, I recently saw somebody had posted a washer and dryer for $800 locally. I was like, are you serious? Is that really what they're going for? It's kind of crazy. And it was even an older one too. It was like ours. It wasn't even a new washing machine. But anyhow, yeah, I thought this shot was kind of cool, getting the stuff going. I like to put some Dawn in mine sometimes just because it seems to add kind of a nice scent.
Now it's time to do my least favorite part, clean up the kitchen. The only way it's going to get better is by doing it though, so I'm still drinking my breakfast.
You can see I had yogurt sitting there. That yogurt, I think it had been drained for about 24 hours or so. I was basically trying to turn it into more of a Greek yogurt, so a thicker yogurt. And as you'll see pretty soon here, I ended up adding a bit of the whey back into it just because it was so thick. This is a gallon of milk, so I got about a quart out of that. So yeah, it was definitely thicker than I really liked. And then with the whey, what do you do with yours? Those of you who do this. I ended up pouring it into a jug, and then I'll use it for my plants as like a fertilizer. I know some people say you can do stuff with it, like bake with it or cook with it, or I don't know what all you do with it, but it has a lot of I guess carbs is what they would say. So anyways, that's why I didn't end up using it for me at all, but it turned out pretty good. I just love this spray that my sister-in-law got me for my birthday. Call me weird, but it was a very practical gift, and I loved it, like, so much. I don't buy a lot of... I'll make my own. I just realized that sounded really bad. I don't buy a lot of cleaning supplies. No, it's true, because I often make my own. I did a lemon version using Castile soap, I think is what it is. Anyways, that lemon and vinegar, you make it out of, like, lemon rinds, let it sit for a while, and... that stuff works pretty good, but it was fun to use this stuff. Then it was on to emptying the dishwasher. I tried washing that yogurt container. Usually if I do it on cold, that's fine, but I had done it on heat just to kind of help make sure things got really clean, and I guess the plastic melted. Yeah, that didn't work. I had a little man helping me. Did you notice that? The tray is going back and forth and back and forth. Pretty soon he's going to be able to help me unload it himself, so that'll be fun. But for now, it just entertains him, apparently. I made a batch of Glenda's honey oat bread. I actually doubled it. I was trying to cut back a little on the grocery bill with having to buy bread. This was perfect. I used some whole wheat white flour. They turned out so nice. I learned the trick. I don't know if you saw my other sourdough video. Basically, I had let my sourdough rise too long, let it ferment too long. It flopped. This time around, I put it somewhere where it was warm because it was a cold day when I made it. It ended up not needing to rise quite as long. I still had like the 7-hour total time from start to finish. I made sure that I watched it and got it in the oven as soon as it was ready to go, just so it didn't overproof, I guess is what you would call it. And it turned out great. Then it was on to cleaning up the random stuff. It's always amazing when you go to wipe counters down. It's like, how come there's so much stuff all over them? Just things that accumulate over time. Sometimes I'll throw the big stuff in the dishwasher, but on this particular day, I didn't want to fill it full of giant containers, so I was kind of sorting through the sink. I don't usually throw the knives in the dishwasher. I guess it's not as good for these, the Victorinox. They're my favorite knives. Maybe I'll have to link them in the description, but they're literally the best. I grew up using my mom's knives, and when I got married, I was like, I need a set of those knives myself. With my yogurt, the bottom scorched. I haven't been able to figure out how to make it without it scorching. Every time, without fail, it seems to scorch, but thankfully I was able to scrape it out fairly easily. And then you'll get to see, I used some of my, what's it called? The stuff for cleaning the copper on the bottom. Barkeeper's friend, I think is what it's called. So if you'll notice here, the bottom looks pretty in rough shape. And then once I put on that powder and scrubbed it in, it just was beautiful. So nice. Speaking of which, I just sent my copper off to go get it retinned. I've got a close friend and family member, anyways, who's retaining them for me. That'll be fun to show you what that looks like when it's all done. Then when I was done, I just went and sprayed the sink out, scrubbed the sink out. That food catcher stopper drain thingy, that thing is so annoying. Something to do with the lip. The water just does not drain when I have that in the sink. It does drain, it just takes forever. Anyways, it's amazing how it doesn't take much to clutter up a counter. When I went to clear the counters, I was like, there's not actually that much stuff here, but it feels like a lot when you're just walking around. But then when you actually go and look at it, it's like, oh, there's only a few things here. Things just need to get put back in their spot. It always feels so good when the counters are cleared. There's something about, I think, just how it affects my brain. It's stressful when there's a lot of things out, basically, is what it comes down to. I had a bunch of sourdough buns there and putting a bunch away, and then just trying to clear the counters so I have a clear space to work. You can see the little man in the bottom there going all around, all just hanging out with me, doing all kinds of stuff. Then it was back to getting the dryer going. Usually I like to hang our clothes outside, but it was cold outside, so I was like, let's just do it in the dryer. Got the dryer going, got another load of laundry going. Kind of a juggling act, trying to make sure I get everything done on time.
Well, Sheila's up from her nap. Things are taking a whole lot longer to do this morning for some reason. But it's almost lunchtime. Hold on. Did you lose it? Oh no! Okay, so Dirk lost his. He needed his toy. Anyways, things are just taking a whole lot longer, so I'm going to make up really quick. I think I want to do the toffee. You think I can carry you too, huh? Yeah? Come here. What? Okay, there we go. Okay. Woo, okay. So, I want to make the toffee really quick for the apple dip, and then we'll go on to lunch. So, you ready to help Mama? Because I need the toffee to be hardening, so I'm going to do that next. Okay, so I've got my pan lined with tin foil. The recipe calls for candy, toffee candy, but I'm just going to make it. I found a recipe for sugar-free toffee, so I will link that in the description.
Okay, I know I said I was going to make toffee, but you guys, I tried. I had to throw out 2 different batches. One of them separated super fast, and the other one, it ended up burning. So I decided just to go ahead and make caramel sauce. It ended up not being like hard and crunchy. It still tasted amazing. First, I started out by browning the butter, and then added some heavy cream. I will link the recipe in the comments like normal. And then brought that to a boil. I used erythritol for my sweetener. And it started to separate a little bit, but then I added a pinch of salt, and that seemed to help bring it back together. Now, I was trying to remember, I know some people say either you whisk or you don't whisk. Anyways, you'll have to let me know in the comments, what's the trick to making good caramel? Then I took that and threw that into the fridge. Here's a picture from the recipe for the brickle that I used. This is what I was going to put the caramel into. So, you use just a tiny little bit of molasses. Oh, this is keto, by the way. It's a keto recipe. And then you mix that in with a softened brick of cream cheese. This shot was from a little bit earlier, so I actually had my caramel or my toffee going over next to it. But then I added some vanilla to that and a bit of maple extract. This stuff is seriously really good. Obviously, this is a fat-based dessert, but then when you use apple slices, that turns it into a crossover. Did you just see the little darling in the corner? She's all gritty and talking. And you mix it up. I used a mixer just to get it all nice and smooth. And then I added some chocolate chips to that. I believe it was Bake Believe. Yeah, Bake Believe chocolate chips. And those were delicious. Laundry time. Somehow I managed to do this without the turkey finding out. He usually loves to come running over and mess with the light switch for the dryer, but managed to get it all out and the laundry swapped over before he discovered that I was over here. It's fun doing stuff with him around, I will admit. I had to include a little shot of Dirk and Sheila. He loves to go over and pet her head, and he's learning not to touch her face, that whole thing, you know. He's a good big brother. A lot of it's just experimenting and curiosity at this point, so he's good with her. For some reason, we had lots of Kleenex on the floor. Goodness. Anyways, when I went to vacuum, the little guy wanted to play with the wheels on the vacuum. You can see there trying to mess with it. But it's a great distraction if I ever need to work on a project or something. Or maybe he's fussy or just struggling. I will pull out the vacuum head, and he loves to turn it. It'll keep him occupied for quite a good while. With the bathroom, I just did a general cleaning. It didn't need a ton of major stuff. Do any of you guys use Pine Sol? I do have toilet bowl cleaner, but I decided today to use Pine Sol because there was this trick I heard where they say if you're having company over and you want there to be a fresh smell, just pour some Lysol into your toilet and it kind of, gives the effect of things smelling fresh and clean. If you want the smell, some people don't want the scents, but I kind of like the way Pine Sol smells. I guess just because I associate it with things being clean, so it does the trick for me. This is something when I worked as a housekeeper. When we cleaned the toilets, the way they instructed us was to start from the top and work your way down. So that way you're not like wiping the toilet seat first and then wiping up where people touch or stuff, to lift the lid. Anyhow. Yeah, just start work from top to bottom. I don't know if that makes sense at all. I had wiped it here, so little turkey with his hands there. I know that might look gross, but that was actually clean at this point. Look at all those suds. A nice clean toilet. Then of course there's always random stuff to put away. Things to put back in their spots. This bathroom sink, I can't wait for the day we can get a different one. When we epoxied the countertops and stuff, somehow, I have no idea how, but we got some stuff on the sink. So there's little spots, so it always looks dirty, even though it's not. If anyone knows how to get epoxy off stuff, let me know. Here in the living room, I had, there's a bunch of camera stuff putting away there. Just all kinds of little things. You notice there on that chest, Dirk loves shoes. And so he'll empty his whole basket of shoes in our room and bring them all out to the living room, so at night there's quite a pile of shoes to take back. But he has way too much fun with shoes. It's actually kind of funny. Oh yeah, did you see that sieve there? That strainer? He snagged that from the kitchen somehow too. The most ordinary toys seem to be the best toys.
Let's make our hot popper dip now. This morning, and then I had a bit left over once I was done and fill in the jar, so set it aside for this. So I need 1 cup. I'm gonna do it in a different container. Let's do it in this one. We need a cup of Parmesan. About a cup, and I guess you put half of the Monterey Jack in here and half on the top. So I'm gonna shred up a bunch, and then I am just going to use cheddar. Let's get this out of here. Let's use the spatula. That's some good mayonnaise. It's kind of gelled. Now let's shred up some cheese. Alright. There's about half a cup. I'm just going to do a little garnish for the top now. All right. That is good. Now let's open up one of the chilies. There's not much to drain from this, so that goes in there. I think I'm gonna leave it with that. It calls for 1 can of jalapenos, which I don't have. I thought of doing 2, but I'm just gonna stick with 1 for now. I'm gonna mix that up. This one is just really, really, really easy. It's super easy to put together. I'm not going to be super picky about this. I am just trying to, at this point, get stuff done because it's already after 1 and I have got to have lunch. Need to feed the little darling. So yeah. Now this is going to go into the oven and I will probably a little before we head out. There we go. How delicious does that look? get all the cheese. You don't want to. It's an important part. There we go. So I'm just gonna put this in the oven before we head out to go to our friend's house and cook it for, what does it say, 20 minutes or so. So there we go. There it is.
One perk to having a small house is there's not a lot of spaces for things to get messed up. We're gonna have to start working with Dirk on picking up, maybe at nap time or something, but like even today, I was working on something and I turned around and he was out. He was asleep on the floor. So anyways, I guess we'll have to be more proactive about, getting a routine for cleaning. But it wasn't too bad. I don't mind just picking the stuff up. One of these days I would love to get a cordless vacuum, one that you plug in. I think that would be kind of neat, kind of handy. Here I was actually vacuuming while Sheila was asleep, so thankfully it didn't seem to bother her too much. And then the garbage, goodness, I just couldn't get it out of that container. It's wedged in there. And I'm always afraid of something poking out the side and then having just stuff go everywhere. So that's why I was kind of being careful. And in the bottom of it, it needed a good cleaning. There was some junk and gunk in there, so I went ahead and cleaned that out. Put a fresh bag in. Do any of you guys use that black and red mop? There's one from Walmart where it's more of a rag mop and it has a kind of a canister or a thing where you put the mop in and then you spin it with a lever that you step on, and it uses that to get the water off. I'd love to get one of those, but I just can't bring myself to buy one. They're like $30. I'm like, $30 for a mop? Yeah, this one works just fine. One thing you don't see is in the back room. I had to move a few things. One of the things I had in there was a sticky trap because we've had little bugs sneaking in and they will go under the trim. We should probably seal that up, but they will fit under there somehow. It seems to help to keep the floor mopped, to keep them from collecting, showing up at night and scaring me. They're not cockroaches, I don't think. Maybe they're a version of them, but they're just so disgusting. So anyways, I have great satisfaction collecting them.
Let's go ahead and make some sliders. Next, I'm going to make creme brulee coffee. So if you guys want to see how I make that, keep watching.
These sliders, I gotta tell you, when I made the buns, they turned out really well, and then they look super dark here. They look burnt, but when I went to pull them out of the oven, I did stick the broiler on for a little bit, and I left them a little too long. Anyhow, I just cut those in half, and then I just spread a bunch of mayonnaise over it. I've seen people do this with Hawaiian rolls, and I was always like, that looks so good, but the Hawaiian rolls, they're like junk, so horrible for you. So I decided, let's use sourdough, and I was quite proud of myself that I managed to get the buns small enough to kind of resemble Hawaiian rolls. That's what I was trying to do. Then I just layered it with sandwich meat. This stuff we picked up from Costco. So use some turkey breast meat. I guess this stuff is smoked maybe or something. I don't know. But it worked good. Then after that, I just layered a bunch of cheese on there. When it was done, I melted some butter and used a dry ranch mix basically. I don't know where I got that recipe. Probably from the Trim Healthy Mama cookbook. But I mixed that in with the butter, and then I just smeared it over the top of the buns. Before we left for the fall party we were going to, or the fall event, I threw it in the oven so the cheese would melt and the butter would basically melt. And it was really good. They all got taken. By the time the evening was over, it was empty, so I figured that was a pretty good sign. People must have liked them.
This is going to go into the oven for maybe 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes, and it will get all nice and the butter will finish melting. I know it looks really weird right now, but I think it's going to taste really good.
So I pulled out the caramel that I had put in the fridge, and it wasn't very hard, so I threw it back in the freezer to harden, and then decided to cut up the vegetables. This stuff I was going to stick alongside with the hot popper dip. Figured it's always nice to have an option for veggies, so took those along, and they were enjoyed. I could have had some more color, maybe done red peppers, but honestly the thought didn't cross my mind. I was like, I have this stuff. I think I had to buy a few things for it, like the cucumber, but I had celery. Maybe I had to buy celery. I don't know. Regardless, I had some veggies. I bought some veggies, and I thought it was quite brilliant to throw stuff in this tin like this. It was going to be an outdoor event, so it worked out good. I didn't need something super fancy or anything. Then I cut up some apples for the apple dip. With the apples, I dumped on a bunch of lemon juice just to help keep them from turning brown, and we actually enjoyed it the next day as well, and they were still in great shape, so that worked good. Then it was time to get back to the laundry. At this point, I was kind of like getting worn out from everything going on, but I didn't want to leave laundry for another day. I always hate doing it, like having to fold or put away stuff if it's been sitting for a day, so I was very motivated to get this stuff taken care of. At that point, the caramel was done hardening. It wasn't as crunchy as I had hoped it would be. It was more fudgy, but that was all right. I just cut it up into little bits, and it kind of broke down over the weekend. Like, we had a little bit of dip left over, so we enjoyed it the next day, and the pieces weren't super defined in the cream cheese apple dip, but it wasn't bad. It certainly was tasty. I did add some heavy cream just because it seemed like it was super thick, and just to make it go a little bit further because I knew there'd be a crowd and I didn't want it to get used up really fast. Now this coffee is one of my favorites. When I would go to Starbucks, before I did Trim Healthy Mama, I would always get their Creme Brulee Breve Latte. So good. And then I came across this recipe. I will link it in the description as well. One of my favorites. I think it tastes so good. I did throw in those pieces in the bottom that's caramel, if you didn't catch that. I thought that would be fun to put in when I did the espresso over that. One of these days I want to get a different espresso machine, but this one works, so I'm not going to complain about it. I believed I also added some instant coffee. There you can see the instant coffee I added. Mixed that up. And then, let's see if I show it. I'm not sure, but I did add some, protein powder. Because this was going to be a snack, so I wanted to make sure I got a good bit of protein in that. Mixed it up and dissolved it in it. Then I heated up some milk, some almond milk. I like this stuff because it's super watered down, so there's not a lot of fat. Anyways, mixed it in with the hot milk. I didn't want to leave any of the remnants of the flavorful coffee in that glass jar or cup, so that's why I dumped in the almond milk. It was certainly tasty. If you don't add the heavy cream, this is a fuel pull, but I wasn't too worried about that at this point, so I added the heavy cream. Thank you guys for joining me today. It was fun to be able to put together a video while I cleaned the house and did all the cooking and stuff. Next week, I am going to do a kind of clean and organize. There's a bunch of areas I need to get tidied up and kind of organized. So I'm going to do that, and then hoping to do some other fall baking. So I've got some fun recipes I want to do next week, so looking forward to seeing you guys then. Hope you enjoyed today's video.